All right. So today's practice, we're going to look at an indoor practice. For people that don't have access to a backyard or a local park, they can use a hammer, a nice little short instrument, a club. They have a piece of doweling. And then for dagger work, they can use a training dagger or a large screwdriver. They can also use, for either of those, just a magazine, just rolled up. So even if you're on the road, God forbid, somebody traveling around in different hotels and stuff, you can do the basics of sword in one hand with a rolled up newspaper and magazine. Get the wrist rotation, imagine the blade alignment, keeping the weapon in front of your face. And then if you're doing dagger, well, just switch to a point down grip. And you can do your dagger strikes. Right? So, starting with the dagger today, I like to do parts of a dagger similar to the parts of the sword in the test. So, this is a training dagger, but if we had the actual scholar dagger, we would have 2 or 3 edges. I've seen them mostly 2 edges instead of a pyramid shape. You've got the first 6 inches sharp. The point does the work. This is a stabbing tool. And then a ricasso, which is mainly blunt. This end is only sharp enough to really cut straps of armor. So we do not see cutting actions with our rondel work. It is very clearly stabbing and going specifically, we're looking at through the armpit, the throat, the groin, spots where it would be, there might be some chainmail exposed underneath plate armor, right? And of course, even if you don't have any armor, if you've got thick clothing or you've got some leather or something like that, this is where you're going to do the damage, especially if you go through into the spine, right? That's what we're thinking about, is this is going through into the spine in each of these spots, right, to end the fight. So we have the point, which does the work, a fairly sharp initial section, a ricasso, the rondels themselves, which is what the name of the dagger is for, 2 round sections. The first section, of course, protects the hand, right? It's a stop, it's a guard. And the second one is to allow you to double up, apply your weight as you're doubling up, as you're coming in, and then they block, and then you decide to double up and press in, which you'll see in armor. That rondel in the back allows you to do so, right? This is the dagger. Typically they're around 18 inches long. I think of it as long as your inside of your elbow to the end of your middle finger, right? Rondel. Everybody would have one of these back in the medieval age, and it's debatably the dangerous weapon. Not the longest weapon, so everything is done in short distance, but you could argue that swords, spears, pole axes are longer versions of a dagger with 2 edges, with a cross guard, with a hitting surface, with a spike, those sorts of extras added on. But in terms of the thrust, we thrust all weapons the same way we thrust with a dagger, right? So, that's parts of the dagger, as I like to look at it. Then we have, before we go on, we have masters of dagger. So there's one page in the manuscript that has 4 masters. You have one holding a pair of disembodied arms for disarms. You have another holding, so you've got the disarms, you've got holding a dagger, that's the first one. And then you have holding the arms. And then you have one holding a key for locks. Can you hear? Is it good? Mike, can you hear? How about now, Mike? Can you hear me now? All right, well, I can hear you guys. Grace, can you hear me? Mike, can you hear me? Well, how about now? Can you hear me now? No? Barely. Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now? Alright, so I don't know what's going on, but let's just run with it. I am in the process of getting better headset. Okay, so you guys can hear me? You can hear me? Yeah? Yes? You can hear? Yes? Alright, good. So, I was talking about the four masters. We have disarms, keys, locks, and then throws. Now let's look at the strikes. So first of all, we're going to be left foot forward. We're going to take our dagger up the center line and then come out for a mandrita. And then back. So, I like to take the left hand up with the right hand, the left hand in, so that then it's going to be ready for fishing or punching, which we'll be doing later. And we're looking at the point coming forward before we strike. Now typically we would go up over our head and in. I have to be careful because I have a low ceiling here where I'm training, so there will be a bit of an artifact. But we're landing with the full weight of our body behind the blade, landing with our right foot into our stance. Let's do that 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now we're going to look at our reversies. For the reversies, we come across the body for a backhand blow. So we bring the hand up across the body, point forward, and then we step and land. Again with the left hand coming up with the right hand. We're practicing this strike, but this is not recommended as an initial strike because it is very easy to block just coming out to frontale. You could argue you could enter as a provocation and then fish from there. But typically I would only use a reversi after having done a mandrito or a fendente and then switching lines to then strike with the reversi. 5 more. Make sure you don't drift into false time. Make sure the blade comes across your body before you step forward. Think of this as coming up to fenestra as you would with the sword, and then moving forward. A few more. Good. Now we're going to do two different types of frontales, of fendentes, right? So we have mandrita from the right, we have reversi from the left, or a backhand, fendente straight down the center, and then we'll be doing a satani up the center. So with the fendente, we're going to do two different types. The first type that we're going to do is coming up the center line, left hand's coming in, and we're going to go in through an open visor. So this one is striking through a visor slit or an open helmet going into the eye. And again, true time, raise the target, step in. Raise the threat, so the point forward and then in. Then false time, it will make it very easy to block, and we do not want that. Make sure you're landing in stance.